All right, good afternoon all. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join in on this session on SalesMatrix SWOT. We've got a mix of people on the line. We've got quite a number of existing users of SWOT, as well as a mix of clients who are checking it out for the first time. Basically, my name is Matt Paff. I'm the Managing Director for Asia Pacific, and we thought we'd get these seminars underway. For those of you who are using Attaché as your core ERP system, as of the 1st of December, we have now separated away from them. So all support is now direct through the SalesMatrix company rather than through the Access Group as it was until December 31. So that's a key reason, keeping in mind that a lot of the people on the line, excuse my dog barking in the background, a lot of people on the line are not using Attaché, so I won't make this too Attaché centric. We're going to focus on the product. So what are we going to do? I'm just going to cover very quickly who SalesMatrix is, and then we're going to jump into SWOT, and then we'll finish with a wrap up at the end. Given that we're only looking at half an hour today, there won't be any time for questions, but feel free to contact me afterwards. I'll provide my email address, mobile number, should you have any questions that come out of today's session. A key understanding around where SWOT came about and how it exists is the evolution of our company over 20 years. SalesMatrix is a product, a desktop Windows application started inside of a company in Melbourne called InMatrix around the year 1999-2000. And effectively over a 20-year period, our company has evolved and separated away from its original roots. We're now a global company, and the product known as SWOT was basically born out of the technical complexity of our core product being SalesMatrix, a Windows desktop application, and trying to get the key information out to the people that matter, which is either the account managers or the sales reps who are out visiting clients and talking to clients on a regular basis. How do we get that key information on sales information and product information out to the right people? So Kim, our founder and key product designer, started working on the idea of, well, can we use plain English as a means of getting this out to out to those sales reps as a means of simplifying the complexity of the analysis that we're doing. In around 2011, we then evolved through a browser-based version in 2015. And then effectively in 2019, we launched our first iOS Android apps. And in 2021, we're about to launch our Windows app. So we'll have an Android, Apple and Windows app available for all the mobile devices, tablets and standard computers. Those of you still using the browser version, effectively the browser version is now redundant. We're not doing any more work on the browser version. We should really get you to switch over to the modern code. At some point, we will basically switch off the browser version. We've completely rewritten the code for the mobile apps and the new Windows app that will be launched shortly. So just to explain what we're trying to do, we've got a suite of products that we really target medium-sized wholesale stock and debtor businesses, commonly called distributors or wholesalers, typically dealing with a repeat customer channel. That channel has traditionally been matured, so that there's a lot of repeat sales happening within an existing customer base. And the formula that we're working on is that growth is a formula of acquisition plus retention plus attachment. We can't really help you with finding new clients. That's what your marketing team and resources are for. But what we can help you with is the retention of your existing revenue from your existing customer base and the cross-sell / upsell opportunities, or what's known as attachment within that customer channel. So that's the things that we've focused on at SalesMatrix, both within our core SalesMatrix desktop application that has been around for 20 years, and also the SWOT application that most of you on the line are using or looking to use. We do have 3 products. We have our core desktop application, we have SWOT, and we also have a dashboard system. But today is really about SWOT. A key thing to understand about SWOT is that we integrate to any ERP or accounting system or inventory management system. And, you know, those logos only cover the majority of the Australian market that we're focused on, but there's certainly a lot more integrations that we have. The key thing is we're pulling the data out and then we're running the analytics over the top. So when we focus on SWOT, SWOT's really designed for your smartphone or tablet. It's really optimized, to be honest, for a smartphone, less than a tablet, but some people prefer to run it on a tablet, but certainly it is designed to be used in that sort of touchscreen, limited screen size real estate environment. The core product, which is customer SWOT within the SWOT product, is really designed for sales reps and account managers. And the product SWOT that exists within SWOT is really designed for warehouse managers, purchasing officers, and marketing officers. And we're going to jump into both customer SWOT and product SWOT today. The simple explanation of what SWOT's about: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The idea is to take very complex algorithms that our team have built up over 20 years of working with wholesale stock data businesses and analysing their sales, and simplify that down so that the average person on the street can understand what the opportunity is, what the strength weaknesses are. Basically, the idea is to take plain English to present complex numbers. We do that in order to help you grow through retention and upsell. A key sort of structure to the way the program works is obviously around this categorizing by strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. A lot of people will just use SWOT for opportunities, but there is some real significant data within the strengths, weaknesses, and threats as well. Without getting technical, because I know most people on the line aren't technical, we do create a script that pulls the relevant data out of your ERP accounting system. So what we do is we pull out your customers and up to 5 distinct groupings of your customers, the contacts within those customers, your product suite, and up to 5 distinct grouping methods of your products, the sales reps, obviously, and then the transactions. So in effect, we get a data source that basically then gets translated, and algorithms that run over the top to lead to the outcome, which is informed, plain English explanation of where the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are within your system. Understand that the updates are occurring typically overnight. So we would run typically a SWOT update overnight, but the algorithms are then running at any point throughout a 24-hour period. You can have the text strings through into your application. Excuse my dog in the background. Basically, the text strings will be updated across a 24-hour period as the AI algorithms are run. So let's jump into SWOT. I'm going to swap over now to my mobile phone, and I'm going to share the screen with you. And because I'm jumping onto my mobile phone, I'm going to open up SWOT, and I'm going to get rid of that, because we were just doing some work last night. So each of you who have access to SWOT will have a username and password. The username and password can be limited to the customer data set or the subset of customers that your organisation wants you to see. So if certain reps have certain territories that they are running, then basically when I first log into the application, I'm going to see a list of customers that are relevant just to me. I've jumped into some sample data here. Within the sample data, the first thing that you'll notice is it's landed on my customer list page. And before I do anything, the first question everyone asks is, what do the colors represent? So on the left is a traffic light. The traffic light will represent where this customer sits in relation to all your other customers as far as revenue. Red represents a low revenue customer, amber represents an average revenue customer, and green represents a high revenue customer. What are the blues? The blues are people who are considered prospects. They've never actually done any trading with you. There are no transaction. And grey represents there's not enough transactions in recent times to even warrant a ranking. So that's the color of the dot on the left. The color of the name of the customer represents their margin as a percentage. So effectively, if someone is a in black. Black just reads better than if we made it yellow. So black represents in the middle, so average margin. Green represents high margin, and red represents low margin. So straight away, I get an analysis on my customer list, and it really starts to point me in the right direction. The key usage of SWOT is for reps who are about to call or visit their customer, and being able to have clear information about that customer before they walk in the door or make that call. So I'm about to call Allen's Extruders as an example. What SWOT is doing is it's taking those complex algorithms and it's trying to present it in a way that makes sense to the average person on the street. So the first thing I get about Allen's Extruder is they have a really excellent cross-sell. They're buying 111 different products off us over a period of time. And if you scroll down a little bit there, you can see that they're buying 34 products on a very regular basis. If I want to know what the 34 products are that they're buying, wherever I see the arrow pointing to the right, I can just click on the screen and it will open up those 34 products that I know they're buying off us. And it will even give me some level of repetition of their sales. So I can see they're buying every 8 weeks, they're buying every 12 days, they're buying this every 9 days. So there's a level of how regularly they are buying those products. Within the strength section, it's also going to point out that, hey, they're buying off us every 4 days on average. They're in the top 10% of my customers by revenue and margin as a raw dollar figure. I can see from the color that their average margin as a percentage. Their sales have grown over the last 12 months quite significantly, which is fantastic. Their margin as a dollar value has grown as well, but not necessarily at the same percentage. So I'm sacrificing a little bit of margin to get the extra revenue. And in this case, as a sales manager, I'd probably think that's okay. The average monthly sales is around $15,300 at this point. So SalesMatrix has categorized there a whole heap of strengths that it thinks are a good way of profiling this customer. Weaknesses and effectively an opportunity to retain your revenue is what products have they stopped buying off us. So it's identified that this customer has actually stopped buying 9 products. Now, if you're dealing with retailers, as many of you are, often your competitor might rip your shelf label off, or simply it's fallen off their radar as far as purchasing, or they're buying from a competitor. Being able to understand what they're basically no longer buying is a great way of being able to retain your revenue. Now, if you say to me, oh, look, that's showing me some products that we no longer stock. The example that I would give is often when you're no longer stocking an item, you want to make sure that you're getting in the replacement item before you take that off the list. Because I can take it off the list of my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So here, for example, say the one at the top, I know that they're no longer buying that because we no longer sell that product. What I would do is I'd click onto that product and I can actually take an action by clicking onto it. I could email Gary, I could ring him, I could basically make a note, I could set myself a reminder, or importantly, I could hide that item. Once I've known I've sold in the replacement product, I don't want it to keep reminding me that this customer is no longer buying that product. So in this case, I'm going to hide that item. And now what you'll see is my weaknesses has stopped buying, has dropped down to 8. It was 9, and now it's showing that there's only 8 products that they're stopped buying off us. So as the sales rep or the account manager, I know to keep focusing on that list and understanding why they're no longer buying. The manager of the sales reps needs to know that people aren't just going in and hiding those items. They are trying to cross-sell and upsell, and they do get that level of reporting at the head office level. The next section, which is opportunities, is probably the area most of the reps that I've worked with use within the SalesMatrix SWOT product. What this is doing is it's starting to use the data analysis to profile your customer in order to look for upsell opportunities. So opportunities here, it's saying products that similar customers have bought. Now, the definition of a similar customer can be many things. A similar customer traditionally is how you group them within your ERP system. Those of you on the line using Attache, you might have a field on the customer master file called sort. You might use that as a means of categorizing your customer. There's another field there called territory or sales rep, or however you group your customers within your accounting or ERP system will inform the artificial intelligence engine as to what a similar customer is. So one thing that I stress very importantly with anyone who's using the SWOT product is you need to get your groupings right. So if your groupings are things like you're selling to bakeries, or you're selling to independent retail outlets or independent grocery stores that are distinct from chain grocery stores or things like that, then you need to get those groupings right within your ERP system so that the artificial intelligence engine gets an understanding of what similar actually means. The other thing that we do is we profile the customer based on their buying habits. If we see that the customer's buying a Big Mac, but we see that 83% of the time, all of our customers, when they buy a Big Mac, also buy fries and a Coke, the artificial intelligence engine will look for that upsell opportunity. Is this person buying the Big Mac, but not the fries and the Coke? So similar can also be based on purchasing habits as to what makes them similar. So taking all that into account, the complexity is simplified down by pointing you to similar customers are buying these products, but these guys have not bought this product from you. So it's really looking at an opportunity to discuss with your customer things that they're not buying that they potentially could buy from you. As I said, the way you group things in your ERP system is really the thing that helps inform those artificial intelligence decisions. And one of the key ones that I like to use is things like regions. I know there's a number of people on the line from the HSK group. We set up with Rachel things like local government area as a region, as a means of informing that. Because particularly when you're dealing in food and these sorts of things, the actual buying habits of people within a region can tend to be trending. The other thing is saying there is that I've made a note. Now, at any point in the system, I can actually make a note against this customer and I can classify it as an opportunity, strength, weakness, or a note. And that will basically show me down here. So I've put in a note here that's saying that they're buying aluminium from my competitor. We really should be talking to them about buying it from us. I don't have any threats against this customer, but threats are things where trends are going the wrong way, i.e. if the margin percentage is dropping, there will be a threat listed here that says, hey, this customer's margin percentage is going the wrong way. Notes are things that don't necessarily get categorized as strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, but are things that our AI engine might identify as a pattern. So for example, Alan's, the artificial intelligence is working out that they're normally buying from us on a Friday. So that's just an interesting thing to know. The reason they might buy from a Friday is because that's when the rep drops in, is typically on their way to the golf course on a Friday afternoon. But hey, none of you do that, right? So basically, the next thing I can look at within the customer file, so I'm still within the customer file, I can look at their activity. Now I can actually look at what products they've bought off us by month for my customer. I can look at that as value, as I am at the moment, or up the top when I click on the word value, I can start to look at that in terms of units. And it will basically change my view when it refreshes to, I'm going over Zoom here. Zoom's not refreshing that screen. Try and do it again. Zoom's getting in the way. Basically what that will do is that will change to the units. I can change what the unit is that I'm looking at to either value, margin, or units. The graph will allow me to see trends, particularly seasonality trends. The contacts will pull out of your accounting or ERP system each of the contacts that are relevant to this customer so that I can make a phone call or send an email straight from the screen. And I can just basically click on that contact in order to do that. The other thing here is the profile. When you look at the profile screen, the bottom three, group 1, 2, and 3, are typically coming out of your ERP or accounting system. So in this system, they've only got one grouping which is coming out, which is group 1 is BB. Now that would mean something within this. Now the things above it are classifications that I can do inside of SWOT. Now the really good reps will start to classify using this because the artificial intelligence engine can then start to use this to compare like for like. So if this is a government business and they've got 21 to 50 staff, then that starts to compare government to government and businesses with 21 to 50 staff together. And so you start to get more informed decisions around the suggestions that the artificial intelligence engine is making. So the important note is though, that if those are changed within SWOT, it does not change back into your ERP system because not every ERP system provides for those fields. But certainly the group 1, group 2, group 3, the source of that data is not SWOT, but in fact, the source of that data is your ERP system. Hopefully that makes sense. Now I've gone through, that's the customer SWOT screen, right? I've drilled in on an individual customer. I'm going back to the customer screen, and I'll just highlight a couple of things here. Up in the top right is a little tick box in what we call the hamburger menu. So it's a little 3 horizontal lines. When I click on that, as a rep, it can basically focus me in on my top opportunities within my customer base. And all that's going to do is it's going to limit my list. And it's going to say, hey, these are the customers who potentially have the most upsell opportunity within your customer base. So I can see Bowers Manufacturing here. Bowers Manufacturing is a high revenue, high margin customer. I'm probably going to start there. And then I'm looking down at, okay, other customers in the KB group have purchased these products, but these guys haven't purchased it. Now that's of interest to me. I probably need to talk to them why they're not buying that, but all the other guys in the KB group are buying it. So that's where the focus comes in. Once I basically just click the back button, I go back to the standard screen. The other things that you can look at there is which of your customers are trending this week, i.e. buying this week, this month, and this year. So that's just a nice way to see what's happening. I can also go and add a prospect. If I'm going to a particular area and I want to remember to call in on someone, you can add prospects to this system, and it can be a way for you to track your communication with your prospects. The other thing I can do is I can basically, when I'm in a customer, so I've gone back down to Allen's Extruders. If you look in the top right corner, there is a star. If I click on the star, that's now added Allen's as a part of my favorites. When I go back to the list, you'll see there's another star up the top there. When I click on the star, it's going to limit it just to my favorites list. Now, where I've seen this used very effectively is where particular reps might plan out their day or their week, and they're just going to go through and they're going to basically favorite all the ones that they're going to visit this day or this week at the start of that day or week. So then they're just looking at the limited list for the ones they're going to visit. As they've gone and visited that customer, they then unstar them, if that makes sense. So it marks them off as being visited. And so they would then effectively fall out of that list of favorites, if that makes sense. And then I effectively can manage that list of my effective calls this week. The other thing I want to highlight is I can set reminders. So you'll see down the bottom there, I've got customer SWOT, product SWOT, reminders and settings. The reminders is about notes that you may have made on the way through. So effectively, I've come in here and I've looked at this Action Fabricators. Similar customers are buying the ProCell AA battery. I've gone down there and I want to add a reminder to myself to do something about that. So I've drilled down. So going back to where I was, looked at the customer, I've looked at the product, I've clicked on the product, and it's opened up the drill down screen where I can take an action. The action I'm going to do is I'm going to add a reminder to myself. And I'm going to call the reminder, excuse my zoom setting there, AA batteries. And I'm going to set it due for next week, and I'm basically going to set it as uncompleted and done. So I've now added a reminder to myself, and that reminder will effectively pop up in my reminders once it's due. And I'll have that as a part of my list of reminders. So then I can basically mark that off. As I go through, I can say that's a completed task, and it will fall off my reminders list as it refreshes. Does that make sense? Okay. Product SWOT is almost identical to customer SWOT. I'm very conscious that most of the people on the line today are sales reps or account managers, so I don't want to spend too much time on product SWOT, other than to say that it works the exact same way that customer SWOT works. The traffic light on the left represents revenue. The color of the name of the product represents margin percentage. So I can see here that the Cardinal Concentrated All Purpose is low revenue, high margin product, whereas the Extreme Melt Snow Ice Melt is a high revenue, average margin product. Now, the SWOT analysis is broken down very similarly, but where this comes in handy, particularly for warehouse managers or marketing people, is looking at the profiled customers on who's not buying this product that potentially could buy this product. So if I've got a slow moving item and I want to start sort of increasing its sales, I could look at who I might promote this product to. The other thing I can look at is who stopped buying this product off me, who might be sourcing from one of my competitors, and I can start to see who it is. Or if I'm thinking about basically getting rid of a product line, I can start to basically see who the customers that it profiles are buying it regularly. So here, the ProCell AA battery, these 6 customers are buying this regularly off me. So if I want to phase that out, if I want to move that to just-in-time ordering, I need to be conscious of the fact that these customers are buying it on a regular basis. So I need to consult with them. And that, look, the other elements of product SWOT is I can look at what products are trending this week. So reps might come into product SWOT, and this can be handy just to go, what products are trending this week? What products are trending this month? This can be very handy to inform. You know, I had a client, I'm not sure if they're on the line, but they used to be the distributor of rosehip oil in New South Wales. There was a current affair program on rosehip oil, and all of a sudden their sales of rosehip oil went up over 1,000%, literally overnight. So keeping an eye on what products are trending can be very helpful for you to understand, you know, whether something has appeared in the news within what you're actually selling. I just want to highlight within the settings menu is that you can change a few things around how it displays. If you're basically wanting decimal points or not to show decimal points, these are actually settings within the area of the program that can be changed. If you're looking at transaction history and you're basically seeing 6 months, but you want to see 2 years, 2 years doesn't present really well on a mobile phone, but you can scroll across. So I can actually change that setting. So when I go back to a customer and I look at their activity, it's now going to show me 2 full years worth of activity for that customer. I struggle to see in many organizations where that's going to be relevant, but we have been asked for that quite a number of times. So you do get to do that. You can also change your filter. You can look at customers within certain ways that you group within your customer base. So I can group basically, I have a look at all the ways that it's grouped, and I can filter down to those if I want. I can also change how it displays. At the moment, it's displaying the company name. A lot of people like to work off company code. So I can come in here and I go, okay, well, rather than showing name, I want to show the code and the name. So when I go back to customers, it's now showing the customer code and the name. Obviously, the most relevant is the reps who want to see that in the product code. So now when I go there now, it's going to show me the product code and the product name. Understand, because of real estate, we're trying to work here on a smartphone. We can't give you an infinite description of the product. So we do cut it off at around 59 or 60 characters. So there's only ever going to be 60 characters that show on the screen. So if you're going and adding in the product code, you're going to get a cutoff on your description more often than not. Other people like to just use code. So I go back to here and I don't care about the product description. I just want to see code. Hopefully that makes sense. Looking at the time, I'm actually coming on decent time. That's effectively SWOT in a nutshell. We're not trying to overcomplicate things. In fact, the whole design of SWOT is to keep it simple, stupid, and effectively present what is very complex. Our servers are running all day, every day, very complicated algorithms to arrive at the outcomes, and to present them in plain English is something that has taken quite a number of years for us to perfect. One thing I wanted to do now is I wanted to actually highlight that we have just about to release our new admin portal. So those of you who have been using our browser version, the browser version has been where you've managed your users. The admin portal now will be a completely new system for managing. Those of you who are the admin users can actually log into our beta version today. We will officially launch this probably the first week of February. But if you want to log in today and start managing your users, adding new users, making inactive old users, etc., you can do that. The website is customerswot.com/admin. As long as you're the admin user, you'll be able to log into that. I've just got to make sure I'm showing you that on my screen. I forgot to do that. So now you basically note that down, customerswot.com/admin. One thing that's really exciting that we're about to launch is the use of notifications. So you will know if you're on social media, they'll put a little red dot on the application icon and they'll push you a notification from time to time to get you to open it. The same thing's going to happen with SWOT moving forward. There will be notifications that say, hey, this customer has stopped buying this product, or this customer hasn't bought off you in the last 21 days and they normally buy off you on 14-day cycles. The other thing is notifications will be able to be pushed out by the admin user. So if you've got a new product range and you want to inform all your reps about the product range and that they need to focus on certain things, you'll be able to use SWOT to push out those notifications. So we're really excited about notifications and what we're going to, where we're going to be able to take that. Notifications is not an active tab in the admin portal. If you're busily rushing in to log in, it won't work at this stage, but it will over the next couple of weeks. The other thing there you will see is that the use of the SWOT strings can be varied. So if you use different terminology to us, you don't like margin percentage as a word, you prefer to use gross margin or something like that, then you do have the ability to edit the way that the text is presented. For the most part, not many people really want to use that, but administrators might be able to use it. You also can go in and you can specify those categories and the way they present within SWOT, even if they aren't coming out that way within from your ERP system. All right, conscious that we're bang on time. If you are on the line and you're not currently a SWOT user, but you are a SalesMatrix user, happy to extend a free offer of trial. Also happy to offer a free setup for any existing SalesMatrix customer. Just send me an email now. Now, I know there was a couple of questions, and Rachel, I saw one pop up. We don't have time to answer it now, but I will sort of take that offline. I thank you all for attending. If there's anyone in your organisation you'd like to attend, I'm repeating this same session tomorrow. If you don't have it on the email, you can just go to salesmatrix.eventbrite.com. There's still plenty of tickets available for tomorrow's session. So anyone who wasn't able to join us today, feel free to recommend that they join us tomorrow. And yeah, we'll go through effectively the same thing. Otherwise, there's all my contact details. If you have any questions, you want to discuss SWOT in more detail, any suggestions, anything like that, that's my mobile number, that's my email address. Feel free to reach out. Hope you all have a great day, and thank you for joining us.